Hello. Remind me, I'm not you from being absent here in a bit. All right, so worksheet 5.1. So the first one, they wanted us to complete the sign line. Okay? So problem number one, they have this. This is what we want to fill out. They give you this graph over here that kind of does something like that. So this is at -4. This is at -3. This is happening at 1. Okay? So the main important points that we want to focus on is where our graph's going to change direction. So we have -4, -3, and then we have +1. Okay? So if I were to talk about this portion of the graph, which means this portion of the graph, would the slope of that red be a positive slope or a negative slope or 0? Positive. Positive. So you just put a positive right here. Okay, good so far? Then I'm going to take a look from 4 to 3 right here. So, actually from 3 to 1 is what I'm looking at. Ah, I already messed up. This whole region is going to be all positive here. And then if I go in between here from 3 to 1, what is that slope going to be if we take a look at it? Positive, negative, or 0? Negative. All right, and then if I take a look at this last portion here, which is right here, would that slope be positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive. Okay, and I guess technically we don't really need this right here. So let's just erase. Oops, wrong one. I don't need to have this information here. So our sign line goes from positive to negative to positive. So things that you know would take place here is we would have a max that would take place here at this 3. We would have a min that would take place here at this 1. Okay, so you're just, a lot of times they will give you a sign line. You don't know what the graph looks like, but you know what the slopes would be. Kind of know what the graph is going to kind of look like from there. Questions here? Are we okay? May I move off this screen? Alright, if you didn't get it, I can move it back down to find it later. Problem number 2. They have this goes negative, negative, positive, positive. Okay? And they want us to draw the graph that would go along with this. So I have -3, 1, and 4. Alright. So if I wanted to take care of this, we have some sort of negative slope that's taking place here. It's going to flatten out right there. If I wanted to draw this portion of the line, it flattened out and then it continues on its way back down. And then if I wanted to draw this portion of the graph, this is kind of coming up. And it's going to flatten out here. And then if I wanted to draw this portion of the graph, it kind of does this again. Okay, so this is approximately what the line is going to look like. The point right here and the point right here are points of inflection. So the slope at each of these points, the slope here is equal to 0. The slope here is equal to 0. But so it's just your line comes up, flattens out, and then it goes back up, or it's coming down, flattens back out, and goes back down. Okay? So that's the main thing. In order to find those points of inflection, you can take the second derivative, which we're really not talking about, but if you take the second derivative, set it equal to 0, that will tell you where the points of inflection exist, which is where your graph continues on a downward or an upward, but it flattens out for a moment and then continues back. Can I move off here? We good in the hood? Number 3. We want to fill out our sign line. We're given this graph. Kind of looks like that. So the only thing we're looking at is right to there. So I would say that's more than likely 2. So you have positive, negative, and if you have a sign change, that means that you either have a max or a min. Because it goes positive, negative, it's a max. That's all you have to do for number 3. We still good? All right. Now it says you have these roots that are given to you. And the fortunate thing is when I give you the roots, you have Desmos at your disposal. And Desmos will make it easy to do the sign line, but just realize there's a time where you won't, if you take a later calculus class, they won't necessarily have Desmos for you. All right, so will somebody just use Desmos real quick and tell me anything about the line that you know. I'm not going to graph it, you graph it. Where is a maximum or a minimum or a point of inflection look to be on Desmos? Well, hey.
Hi. What are you doing in 8th period?
Anything you need me to do?
Covered Elisa's, Kathy's CP geometry.
Giddy up.
Up in 308, 8th period.
308. Am I teaching like good stuff?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
He looks way too comfortable back there.
He is comfortable.
So 8th period, West 308, accelerated geometry.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Western. I gotta write this down. Sorry, reach West 308, 8th period. Can one of you guys text me to remind me of that? Because I'm gonna forget. Hey. Great to see you. That came from you. All right. So Desmos. Where does it look like you have a maximum or a minimum? Like in the x direction. Yeah. So is that where the max and min are, or is that where it's crossing the x-axis?
That's where it's crossing.
Okay. Can you see where it's a tallest point or a smallest point?
The tallest point is 93.656.
What's the x value at that?
-3.2.
-3.2? Do you see, so you said that's a max?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you see another max or a min or a point of inflection?
And then at 0.2.
Min at 0.2 is a min. You see anything else on there?
It just goes back up to infinity.
Does like that?
Yeah.
All right. So if this is a max, if this is a maximum, that means the graph would have come up and go down. So this would have been a positive here to a negative here. This is a min, should be a positive. So there's our sign line. Okay, and again, those signs just represent, is it a positive slope or a negative slope? Okay, but again, Desmos is there to utilize as a tool. If you didn't have Desmos there, there's multiple ways that you could go about doing this. I mean, you could take this and say, I want the derivative of this, which is 6x squared plus 18x minus 5. And then I could take the second derivative of that to give me 12x plus 18. And go from there. That would tell me if there's a point of inflection, but it doesn't sound like there was a point of inflection there. But if I were to say, if I were to take this and set that equal to 0, that's going to tell you where your max and min would be. And I'd say, how close are you on that 3.2? I don't know if that's going to factor on top of my head. Maybe it will. Let's see if it does factor. I don't want to work that hard. Where does it cross the x-axis?
-5, 0, and 1/2.
And 1/2, huh? Yeah, I'm not gonna factor it. So basically, you get the gist of it. Desmos will be definitely helpful for you as fun on this sign line. Number 5 says give the interval where f at x is increasing and decreasing. Oh no, they gave us the derivative. We're going to skip number 5 because I'm not going to test you on that. So go to number 6. For the following function, give the intervals where it's increasing, decreasing, give the max and mins as ordered pairs. So problem number 6, we have this. So we got that. All right, so we want to see where it is increasing or decreasing. So that means we're going with a sign line. All right, Desmos time. So when you graph it, go y equals parentheses x squared minus 4x parentheses squared. So this will be a 4th degree, so it's probably going to look like a W, probably. Tell me where you see a max or a min. I think there should be 3 of these, I think. Anybody?
There's a max at 2.
At 2, the x value of 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then a min at 0 and a min at 4.
So max, min, and min. Okay. All right, so if we have a minimum here, this means that our graph would have come down. So this would be negative. So it comes down and starts swooping back up. It's positive here. A max is going to go from a top to a bottom. And then a min. So that would be the slope of each of those lines. And if you just got to that point, you're totally fine. All right. So, how do we feel? How do we feel about this? Are we okay? Again, Desmos is very helpful. The plus minus plus talks about basically where you have a graph going from a positive slope to a negative slope. At the very top is a max or a min, or max at the top, min at the bottom. Point of inflection is where the slope is 0. It's where the graph is going up, and then it keeps going up, but you had it zeroed out, or it's going down and then going down. Okay? So, let's see, where are we at? I don't know why I write that up on the board. It's not like I stick with it. Alright, so, being that y'all wrote this down, feel pretty good about it. What do we say? Worksheet 5.2, 1 to 3. 1, 2, and 3. Deal? Everybody happy? Did everyone take the quiz that's on Schoology from last week? If not, make sure you take it and give me a heads up if you don't see your grade change because I didn't put it.